Hello guys, what is up? It's Jira Bro in here and welcome to the course Jira for everybody. Now, I'm not gonna making this for the Jira administrators because I already have created this course. This course is going to be for everyone. Either you're a business user, either you're a UX designer, either you are a developer, a project manager, product owner. Uh, just think of as any tech role out there, this course is going to be for you. So let's dive into it. The very first thing that you're gonna encounter when you actually join a Jira site, when you actually accept the invitation that your organization admins have sent you, you will be seeing this. So, this is going to be your work. Within your work, you're going to see your recent projects that you have been working on. So, you don't have to pivot between a lot of different projects within the project directory and to just go and search. It would be really time consuming to actually do this. So the very recent projects that you were working on, they're actually listed in here. You can see the name of that project. You can actually see what is the project type. So it could be like a service management project, it could be like a company managed software project, it could be a team managed software project, it also could be a business project as well. So all of those things that I'm talking about, those are the project types. You don't really need to know about this because you don't really need, to care about that because you want to be focused on your work. You actually want to see the tasks that need to be done, deadlines to be met, and, to make everyone happy. That's it. That is the whole point because Jira I can say, is the biggest software out there, of course, developed by the Atlassian, that is actually a leader in project management. When it comes to the project management tool, Jira is, I can say, the number one on the market now. Of course, there are some alternatives right there. Some may be using Asana, some may be using ClickUp, some may be using the Monday and everything else. But from lots of the cases right there and from the articles, people are just, going through the Jira when it comes to the features, when it comes to, optimization of their project management processes, about everything. So let me just stop rambling right there. So this is the first section that you're going to see in here. So you also have the tabs such as worked on, viewed, assigned to me, and starred as well. And you can actually see what you were working on today, what you were actually working on within the last week, in the last month, what you were actually doing. And even in here, it says what is the action that you did. So, did you actually create a new issue? Did you actually update the issue? And you can also see what updates you have actually made in there. So you cannot remember all of those things in there and to be like, oh, I have to work on this, I have to work on that, and I have to do this, I have to do that. That would be really something that someone, as a user, and I can say this confidently, they wouldn't care to actually memorize all of those things. So, this is something that you can actually see. You can also see the viewed tab, and this goes for your dashboard, this goes for your boards as well, this goes to the project as a whole as well. You can also see the issues that were actually assigned to you. Now in here it's saying I don't have any issues assigned to me, but this is going to be a rare case. Okay, this is going to be something that is going to be a rare case. Usually in here you're going to be saying some numbers in here, depending on your role, of course. Some numbers may be higher, some numbers may be lower. It really depends. And also you can see some of the things that are actually starred. What do I mean by starred? So by start, it actually means that you can go for your filters, for example. You can start your filters, you can start your dashboards, and you can then return to them, and you can be like, oh, okay, I'm working with this project and I'm working with this, working within this board. This board is important to me. I want to start it so I can actually have my full attention to it. So let's go to our very first project in here. Okay, so when you come to the project, this will be the thing that you will see. At very first glance, this might actually be a lot of information for you for the very first time. So yeah, remember the start thing that I was talking about. So you actually click it in here, and now it's being started, and now it's being added in here. All right, so what are the things that you actually need to know in here? So this card right here, this is actually called an issue. Besides working on issues, you will be also creating the issues. Either if you're the QA and you're going to be creating some of the bugs in there, you are actually going to do that. Either if you are a product owner that is going to write the user stories for the developers to actually work on, you will be creating the issues. Now, first of all, one thing that you might actually notice in here when we actually look on the left side in here. So this is first of all, this is like the board, and then you have something in here that is called the active sprints. Why is this? Because software development is based on the agile methodology. Within the agile methodology itself, you have first of all, you have the Scrum framework, and then you have also the Kanban. The project that you're actually looking on is actually going to be Scrum. You don't really actually need to pay attention to this. Well, this depends, right? If you are a Scrum Master, you are definitely going to be paying attention to this, and you're also going to be paying attention to your reports as well. But never mind that, let's do the basic thing, how you can actually create an issue here. So you can actually click here and you can actually create an issue. What needs to be done, you just type it out, but mostly you're going to click on this create button in here. Now, as you can see, this is like in the minimized window. What you can actually do is you can actually go to the full screen, and this is indeed going to be the full screen. So now let's break down this screen actually in here. So you have the name of the project, you also have the issue types. So within the agile methodology, it is stated that basically you have some of the issue types, or we can actually call this like work that is being assigned to your team. So you have epics, so you have stories, you have tasks, you have subtasks, and you have the bugs as well. So 5 of the issue types. Epics are the largest ones. And mostly in software development, epics are being used mostly to actually develop, let's say, a new feature, for example. And that epic is broken down into stories. So let's say 5 or 6 stories, they're actually combined together to actually create an epic. Now, since the stories are actually connected to the epic, this is something that is called the parent-child type of a relationship. In this specific case, an epic would actually be a parent. So if we go here and we specify an epic, it's going to first ask us what the epic name is going to be. So let's say if I'm actually working as a product owner and I need to specify the name of the issue that needs to be like created or something like that, I can say notifications feature, for example, and it's going to have the summary. So for this, you can paste this without a problem. Now, what else you can do? You can also add some of the attachments in here if it's actually needed. Attachments such as pictures, such as videos, such as PDF files. This is something that you can include within your specific issue. You can give it more description. This is something that is usually being done, where it's where you just go into details what needs to be done and what it actually is, well, consisting from. Okay, so you have the other things like the reporter, and usually the person who is creating the issue is the reporter. Now, of course, this is something that the question is, well, can you change the reporter later? Yeah, but this is not a really good practice, because this is like you kind of want to cheat the system, you know, and why would you actually modify the reporter? That is the question. Why would you actually want to do that? So, but the short answer is yes, you can. Okay, now you have something as well that is called the fixed versions, right? To explain to you simply, when it comes to software, when you're actually shipping out the software, if you probably have noticed maybe in the past or even now, you have those like versions like alpha version, beta version, or maybe like you heard in the news, like the beta version of this software has been released. Everyone actually can try it out and see how it actually works. What actually this means, it means that basically like the whole application is still in the development and you might encounter some of the bugs. So since you're actually working on developing this, like let's say feature for the very first time, so this must be some kind of a version, right? It is. So in here it could be like a version 1. So we're actually going to do the version 1 of this specific feature. Let's say I want to assign this to myself. Another important thing that you can also add is actual priorities, right? So, and in here you want to keep these things simple, right? You don't want to have too many priorities, because you know teams can actually get confused about this. So yeah, this is something you can have like low, medium, and high priorities. But also this depends on how the business requirements are being dictated. So that is something else. This is my personal opinion, just to keep things simple, because when things are simple, the teams are going to, you know, work much. The teams are going to be productive. That's what I wanted to say. So I'm going to say, instead of critical, this is going to be the high. You can also add your labels if you want to actually add the labels. Now there is a whole definition like what is a component, what is a label. There is a whole difference into that. Parent, I'm not going to specify a parent because if you're like stating an epic is going to be it's like a parent of a parent, which is something that doesn't make sense, and it's not really agile in that kind of a sense. So it's gonna be like, no, we're not gonna be using that. Sprint, we're just gonna leave it like this. Theme, this is for the Jira line. I don't know how many of you are going to be using Jira line, so I'm going to leave these empty, and let's just create an issue. We can define it later. Now what happens? It says change your state, but the issue isn't visible itself. Why is this? Because within the Scrum project, when you actually create the new issues, those issues are going into the backlog. So since we're having this active sprint right now, so what actually is happening in here, that basically this feature is a feature, this issue now is within the backlog itself. So now we're questioning, well, where is it? How we can actually add it in here. So if we go for our active sprints in here, we don't see nothing on the board here, so it's not within the board. And if we actually go for the backlog, it should be the backlog, because when you are doing the active sprint, yeah, sure, you can add the items to the back sprint, but to the active sprint, but this is a bad practice because we want to avoid something that is called the scope creep. Okay, let me see what actually happened here. Okay, notifications feature. Yeah, sure, it's here. Okay, so to do, alright, okay, epic name, notifications feature, yeah, that is it, no problems in there. Okay, nevertheless, let us move on. Everything that you see from here, these are called the columns, and your issues, they're going to be going through these columns depending on the update of the statuses of these issues. So it's gonna be depending on that as well. And the goal is for your issues to go from here, from to do, into released. Now you don't want to play the system and you just say from to do it's actually going into done, because there is a whole process behind that, because every day the team is going to gather and your guys are going to talk about the statuses of those specific issues. So it doesn't go just like that, unless there is a decision that for some reason that issue is being thrown out and it's not gonna be worked on. It can go immediately like in the upmost right column in here. Okay. What else you want to know in here? You want to know about, yeah, changing those statuses now. Okay, so if you actually decide to work on these specific issues, So it's like the question is, okay, what it can do in within an issue. The answer is depends on the permissions that you were actually given in here. But usually you're going to be able to add comments, and you're going to say hello, and you can even mention people, and you can mention people, and you can say I started to work on this issue, for example, right? I've started to work on this issue. Let me just hide environments. Okay, and that is it. Now what happens in the background that this person is going to get a notification that you mentioned them on this specific issue. They can go in to that issue and they can read your comment on what was actually happening here. So it's gonna say like, I started to work on this. I'm going to be the assignee here, and I'm going to say now this is going in progress because I've started to actually work on this specific issue. And as you can see, it moved. It moved within the column itself. So that is the idea, okay? And now it depends what type of a team you are. If something needs to be tested, if something needs to be reviewed, just like the documentation or something like that, that can go into another column, and then it may be returned to the same column where you started the work. Okay. So that is something that you actually need to know. Also, what else do you need to know? Now that is the question that you might ask. Is you can do the filtering options. So how you actually do this, you click on quick filters, you click on show quick filters, and you can select assigned to me. And you can be like, okay, this is something that is assigned to me, and I only care about this. I don't care about anything else, because that is true. Each member of the team, they're going to have their own assignments, and it's logical to actually have the issues that they can actually look on, that they're being only assigned to them. It is totally it is really something that makes sense. Okay, what else you actually need to know from here as a user? Well, calendars. Okay, from the calendar point of view, you can actually see when some of the issues they're actually in the due date, when the due date is approaching, so you can actually have more time to can actually get with the team to see what is going on, or to wrap things up. So as you can see from here, this is the schedule that I have for, let's say, version 2.1. And for the version 2.1, I have this there. It's saying like this is going to be on the 31st of December. But let's say in here that some of the things have happened. For example, let me see. Let me just add. Okay. All right. So it seems like I don't have it in here, so I'm going to find it. All right, due date. Okay, it says, well, that it's in here. Okay. I don't really see it. Let's see here. Due date. Okay. Save changes. Let me go back. But this is something that you really shouldn't be worrying about, because these configurations are done by your Jira admins. So that's it. Yeah, for the due date, let's say the due date is like in 2 days. Now, what happens? Go to the calendar. I can say, whoa, like I have to. This needs to be done like in 2 days. Need to speed things up. So you're gonna be also looking at the calendar a lot. You're also, depending on your role, of course. Another thing that you can also do is, instead of having this board view, you can actually have this kind of a Excel type of a view where you can actually see these issues in here. And if you actually only want to look for your where the assignee is yourself, you can actually indeed look into it. And as you can see, you have applied I have applied one of the filters, which is actually to look the assignee, which is me. Whichever view suits you more, you can use it. Okay, summary. This was something that was recently introduced by the Atlassian. This is one of the newer features, and I highly encourage you to actually use this feature. It's really handful, because it can really help you to have the insight of your project, like the status overview, total issues, and how much of them are in to do, what is happening with them, how much of them are actually in the progress, how much of them were done, how much of them are actually due, and you can actually see due one of them in the next 7 days. You can also see how many of them were updated in the last 7 days, so you can actually see if there is some kind of an activity within your project. You can also see how many issues are actually critical, how many of them are not so critical but needs to be worked on, and so on and so forth. Also, another thing, team workload. What is the distribution in the percentage? Okay, so you wanna see basically not to have an overload when it comes to work, because your teammates might get stressed. They might to rush things, and when it comes to rushing things, it's prone to the errors, and this is something that you don't want to actually have. And because this creates stress, from the stress it might actually escalate to a burnout. You don't want to create that kind of a situation, so you can balance things around between your team. Okay, yeah, goals, you're not gonna be looking at this too much, but yeah, those are the most things that you're gonna be looking for. Also, reports, yeah, depending on the project type that you actually have in there are a lot of reports in here that might be useful for you. For example, you have the burn up chart, you have the sprint report, you also have the velocity chart, right? And if I click on here, okay, so it's saying like, I don't know, developer sprints, yeah, and in here those who know how to read these reports they can read it. And even then, it's gonna say, you know, how to read this chart. And it says understand the work completed or push back on the backlog in the each sprint. This helps you determine if your team is overcommitting or if there is excessive scope creep. Really important thing when it comes to especially the Scrum framework. There are a lot of differences, and Kanban company is kind of more lightweight than Scrum. It's all about the continuous work. In Scrum, everything is like planned, everything is estimated, all of the work that is being planned to be done within one sprint. Yeah, that is that kind of a scope of work, and you don't want to add more work because that creates the infamous scope creep. Yeah, there are a lot of the other things that you actually might be looking on are going to be your dashboards. You're either the dashboards are either going to be shared with you, or you can even create your own personal dashboards, so you can have more let's say better view of like what is going on. So for example, I'm going to say my dashboard. I'm going to click on save, and in here what I can do, so this is the layout, this is how it's going to look like. And on the right side you have something that is called the gadgets. You add your gadgets to your dashboard. It's actually in here. So for example, I'm gonna say average time in the status, and within the average time in the status I'm looking for a specific project in here, and I'm looking for the project mobile dev, and I want to see for the specific status, which is going to be in progress, and I want to be seeing this for weekly. For daily not so much, but weekly this would be something. You always want to change your refresh interval, because if it's actually a none, you're not going to have the fresh data, and then you will actually have to do the refresh by yourself. And I click on save, and from the save it's gonna tell me like in the progress. Now for this example it's like saying 0 hours, but this definitely is going to be much more different from your side than it's actually on mine. And as you can see, when you actually click on done, this is how your dashboard will actually look like. Okay, so you have like your work, and for the projects, of course, you're going to see only the projects that where you have been added to. You're not going to see all of the projects in there, unless some of the projects actually have the open status. When the projects have the open status, that means basically anyone within your within the Jira instance will be able to see that project as well. But you just want to be focused on the projects that you will actually care about. You don't care about the other projects, only those that you're actually working on. Okay, so I want to show you different types of projects, and they're actually called the service projects. So if you have like the IT support team, or engineering support team, or customer support, or anything like that within your company, and I believe that when it comes to customer support and engineering support, a lot of companies do have this. So these are the service projects in here, mainly created for those types of people. And in here you have the queues, and the queues are actually, well, also the requests, and within those specific requests you have two types of users. Okay, so I'm going into definitions now. So you have agents. Agents are actually the ones who can see this very view right here. So those are the agents. And also you have the customers, who are actually the ones who are seeking for the support. Do they have some kind of a question? Do they have like something that there is some kind of a bug, they want to report it, or they might want to actually request something or something like that. So all of those things are done when it comes to customer through something that is called a portal. Okay, right? And within the portal itself, the customers are actually going in order to make a request. The question is, how does that portal look like? So it looks something like this. So this is your portal. This is someone who is requesting the support is going to have a look. Of course, all of these things can actually be customized, but mostly you're going to be encountering with all of the things that already have been customized, because when it comes to customization of all of those things, these are done by the Jira admins as well. Okay, and when you want to make a request in here, we're actually representing here what you actually need if you want to report a bug, if you want like security compliance or something like that. I'm going to say I need my sec compliance, for example. I'd say you want to add some attachments and everything like that, and you just send this. So this part, this is something that your customers will actually see. And as a customer, at any time, you can look at your requests. You can actually see the status of those requests. You can see who was the requester, what is the reference, and everything else. If someone needs the reference number or something like that, if someone is actually calling you and asking for support because they haven't heard from the support for some time, and they can be like, oh, my request number is this, and that, and they can look on and they can see what was going on, what are the comments, and things like that. So this is something that is seen by the customers. All of the things like view all help centers, create a help center, virtual service agent, mostly this is not going to be seen by the regular users. Okay, now what happens? So the request actually came in, and the agents, actually the ones who are working on this, so they're going to see a new request that was actually created. Okay. Funny thing is, this is a new feature that was introduced by Atlassian as well. It's called the views. And when it comes to the views, there are two types of views in service management projects. You have the boards and you also have the calendar. Remember the boards from the software projects? Yeah, you also have them in the service management project. Same thing goes for the calendars. And then you have service requests. In here you also have the incidents, changes, post incidents, reviews. Yeah, this is something that also comes in here. It's also gonna be in the part of the queue. but that is something else. Okay, then you have like operations and everything, but like I said, most of the time you're going to be focused on the request if you're actually the one who is working on solving that specific request. And if you want to see what is going on within that specific request, you're actually the customer the who has the view into it, and they can be like, oh, I see what is going on with this request. Okay, right, so all of these things are mostly customizable. There are also reports in here, and what type of reports? So when it comes to service management and when it comes to providing a service, you also have a workload in here. Yeah. Then you have dissatisfaction. Okay, because maybe there was a bad grade in there. Never know. Requests deflected, requests resolved requests as well. You can look at them, and etc. You have custom reports, created versus resolved, time to resolution, SLA met versus breached. Now, what actually is SLA? An SLA is a service level agreement, which actually means that our management told us, it's like since we're on the support side, it's like, okay guys, when the support comes in, I want you to just respond to them in the next hour, for example. And for the time to resolution, let's say 2 to 3 days. Okay? And if those 2 to 3 days have passed, but the issue hasn't been solved, that means the SLA has been breached. And then the question is, okay, why it has been breached? What is going on? What we can actually do to solve this issue? Why the SLA was breached, and all of those things. So that is actually something that could be customized. A lot of those things can actually be customized. Of course, knowledge bases. This is something that basically you can connect your service project with your knowledge articles. This can actually help out users a lot, because they can go through that knowledge base, and if they find that article by themselves, they can solve the problem themselves. So you don't have to raise a support ticket for every single thing that, well, basically there is in the knowledge base. So yeah, the workload is actually put on the agents as well. So yeah. Okay. Another type. Yes. Let us talk about more different type of a project. It's not more that different. It's meant for business people. It's meant for those who are not following like the agile methodology principles, and they just want to have the regular columns, and they want to be like, okay, if this is done, if it's not done, if this has been rejected, not rejected, and the things like that. So they want to have it in more simplified way, which is of course possible. When you land to it, the first thing you will be presented is the board itself. Of course, you can go through the list in here, and also if you want, you can change the location of these columns. You can do that. The thing is, of course, if you change this, it doesn't reflect the changes for everyone. It just only reflects the change in the interface for you, not for anyone else. Okay, what else do you have in here? Yeah, one of the things I forgot to mention is actually the timeline itself. Because within the timeline itself, you can see the issues well within the specific timeline. Of course, they need to have a start date, they also need to have a due date. And also, if those issues are connected between each other, there also needs to be a dependency shown within the timeline itself. In this specific project, that is not being shown, but probably this is going to be shown for you. Okay, when it comes to forms, forms is also a new feature introduced by Atlassian that is now part of all of the projects, and the forms are being used in order to collect some important data from your stakeholders. By the native functionality, this is available for your service management project. So this is something that I forgot to mention, is that the forms can be created in order to gather the information about some certain things. But now they're also available for the software projects, and they're also available for the business projects as well. You also have the pages, and the project pages are actually going to require you to connect to your Confluence. This is actually good. But of course, this would mean that you would need a Confluence license as well. Usually you're going to have both Jira and both Confluence licenses in order to actually work with them. Attachments, this is like one place where you can search for the attachments. You can see what the attachment type, or you can look for the attachment type. Either it's an image, either it's a video, or who was it added by, and you can filter that out. You can say Alana Grant added this, and I need some of the PDFs that was added by her. So it's like you're having a Google Drive, but it's like embedded within the Jira business projects. Also have the issues. This is where you want to browse for more issues. This is actually good, and I believe that you're also gonna have the access to this AI functionality in here. If you have the access to this, I would encourage you to use this, especially if you're newer to Jira, because it can find basically the issues that you are looking for more easier, so you don't have to learn the JQL to go for more advanced issues and things like that. Okay, also have the reports. You can go for pie chart report, created report, etc. Also have the components. The difference between a component is and the label is components are used to group issues within one specific project, while the labels are being used on a global level. Archived issues, another newer thing that was introduced by Atlassian, because there is this following of the principle that the issues shouldn't be deleted, because once they get deleted, they cannot get back. I mean, they could be if you're using the third-party application, but that mostly those applications are not going to be free. All right. Instead, you have the option to actually archive those. Now, it's still in the rollout phase. It's not like completed. But when you archive your issue, they're going to be within the archived issues. When you click on three dots, you have the option to actually move to the bottom. You can edit the cover of this specific issue. You can copy the link. You can link a Confluence page to it, which is another great thing, especially if you're doing some kind of a financial analysis or something like that. So that is also pretty good. Yeah, but mostly these are the things that you should know about the Jira. Yeah, more things. Mostly what is going to be done in here is changing the yeah, it's gonna be high. I've checked and it's ready for testing. And what is going to happen in here, I'm going to select the new person, and it's gonna be architecture review, for example. What was this? This was actually assigning the issue to someone else. Okay. When you are done with your part. So that is how the communication is being established between the teammates. And that is the ultimate goal. Okay. So yeah, those are the things that I believe that you should know about Jira. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe to the channel. Thank you. Bye.